that you're here. We've started our recording and we're moving on. So today we're going to have a focus on district operations. Although many of us in K-12 focus on student data and things like attendance and discipline, things like buses and payroll and cleaning the place is also very important. Last one, we had a great last one. If you missed it, you can see it online in October. We had a great dashboard showing about sustainability in Colorado. And today we have guests from today we have guests from Hawaii and Illinois sharing their dashboards on school operations. We are the K-12 user group. There are three myself, David Ogden, Robert Kramer, bringing from Ohio, and Stephanie Henry, who's now out on maternity leave. She is the IT manager at Plant Moran. She's a original host for this group. We're sorry to miss her with this one. We've got 8+ events lined up. We're about halfway through for this academic year, and we just keep on growing. So let people know about the TUG and join this Tableau data family, specifically for our elementary and secondary schools and districts. It is a big family, so feel free to reach out to others as well. We have a community page. We have this user group, but there are lots of folks all over the place, all over the world. You can see the numbers here to help you, plus resources. And some of the resources you can get are right here. There's an introductory resource about using Tableau in K-12 schools. Some of you may already be beyond that stage. Tableau Tuesdays, the Salesforce does some great stuff, sharing their demonstrations of stuff. And we have our own community as well as a networking site. We'll drop those links in a moment. But know that they're all out there for you to help you with your skills as you get deeper and deeper and better in Tableau. Some upcoming events will take a pause during the holiday season after this, but we'll start again in the new year, January 22nd. We'll have some meet a community member and tools and tips. We haven't lined up folks exactly yet, so if you're really interested in sharing some of your work, feel free to connect with us. There are 2 opportunities coming up. We have some folks in the hopper, but we just haven't sent out the invites yet. So if you want to add your name to the folks that want to present, please do so, because we can always add more sessions. These are the ones that we've queued out for the next 2 quarters, but there's plenty of months in between and plenty of months after that we can add more sessions if we have that interest from presenters. You don't have to be an expert to present either. And we're also looking for people who will meet a community member. Tell us about your Tableau journey. So I'll stop the share. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, thanks, David. Okay, let me go ahead and share then. All right. If you want, David, feel free to go ahead and just go ahead and keep sharing. I think that'll be fine. Yeah, that'll probably be a little easier on my end.
No worries.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about the latest version of Tableau to be released. The Tableau 2024.3 was just released a few weeks ago. Like usual, there was quite a few updates in it, but one that I would like to highlight is the introduction of spatial parameters. The whole explanation of them is on the screen. I'm not gonna read it all to you. That's why it's there. But basically, you will now be able to select individual points, lines, or polygons and have those passed into calculations, which makes the interaction with your map on your dashboard more dynamic in nature. I've gone ahead and copied and pasted the link to all the features on there if you want to see them. And then go ahead and go to the next slide, David.
Oh, but Robert, I got to think there. So, well, like spatial parameters, how would I ever use that? Well, we can think about if you're into maps, you can think about your catchment or attendance areas. How cool would that be just to be able to have that as a parameter? You hover over it, you click on it, and new stuff come up. That's the outline of your school attendance boundaries.
Yes, and I'll tell you, I'm excited to play with that. Unfortunately, our version, the way it works with the API with our vendor, we're a little behind always a few versions. So I'm kind of excited for this to come out again, because we have we've done that with like redistricting already. We have some dashboards using like set actions, and it's been very helpful for that. But I would love to see how what we can do with this, maybe shore up the process even more. But so on this slide, you can see that this new feature, you can see the new feature in action. It's being used by selecting on polygons in this example. There are links on both of these slides. I caught the one copied, and I'm actually going to go ahead and copy the other one in right now. Give me just a moment.
And I'm in this link. Look at the bottom of the lake there below the island in the pink. That's Renton. That's the Renton School District.
Oh, it is. I didn't realize that. Okay, that's awesome. Well, that worked out. I had no idea. But anyway, so this slide, the link at the bottom of this slide goes into more detail, specifically on spatial parameters and calculations. Some of the stuff that was even already in there, but the new things as well, towards making these more dynamic and interactive maps. So I'm excited to try it, and I know Stacey's even got some map stuff today too, which is going to maybe give her some ideas on this too. This new update, who knows, right? It's going to give me some. Okay, so go ahead and go to the next slide. So now is time for all those fun announcements. We try to do this every time we have a TUG. If anyone has any recent achievements or promotions or any other reason to celebrate, let's go ahead and we can post them here right now. And also, if you have any job opportunities that are Tableau or even Tableau adjacent, please post them here too. We love to try and help connect people in their career pursuits in K12 and IT and visual data analytics. Any takers today? Ooh, there we go. So David just made a dashboard for the National School Clearinghouse data to track where their graduates go on a map. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you actually get the geo coordinates from them, or did you have to feed that into the Census Bureau to get them?
Well, I just did the states. I'm a simple Tableau user.
Oh, okay. No. States works too. Yeah, that's helpful if they're going all across the country.
Yeah, a lot of them end up in Washington, so that's big.
Well, that makes sense.
I did one with the big. It gets darker the more students you have in your state.
It would say something about your state if Washington was not number one, right? Like if their main goal is to leave Washington, right? So I'm glad that's not the case. Any other announcements? If you think of anything else, we can. Anyone does, we can circle back to it as we kind of get to a stopping point. So go ahead and go ahead and head over the next slide, David. But so last month, David spoke about the Data Plus TV initiative by Tableau. This is the next in the sequence, apparently, when they had their Data Plus movies. I'm curious to see what comes after TV. I don't know if we're going to do radio or what, but Data Plus TV initiative by Tableau at our last talk. And so he made this cool school-specific TV show collage for us to enjoy. And this week, we thought it might be helpful to just take a few minutes to show off this really robust data set. I dove into it just a little bit since our last meeting, and right away, I found it to be pretty interesting and not too complicated. It's pretty simple and but powerful in what it was. And I think we all have our favorite TV shows growing up. So finding something where there's some passion always makes telling a data story much more fun. So for me, I'm going to use as two quick examples the two TV shows that my brothers and I always watched growing up: The Simpsons and Seinfeld. Those were the two we aggressively and annoyingly quoted all the time around our parents, which may or may not have resulted us getting banned at one point or another from it. So if you want to go ahead and stop your sharing, David, I'm going to go ahead and start mine.
That's right. And since we're K-12, remember, manage your screen time.
I will try to be quick with this. So,
my mother limited me to 2 hours a day. She said, "That's all you get." Then she would unplug the TV.
2 hours isn't too bad. That's reasonable. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this link in the chat. So this is where you can they have like a good sample dashboard where you can see this here. It's the TV starter dashboard, and it's by Tableau Marketing. And you can download this, and it's already got everything, all the data, how you would want it. And you can even look at their sample dashboards. So if you want to download it, like usual, you're going to go up here to download, and you're going to download it. I'm not going to do that right now because it's well over 100 meg, and no one wants to sit here and watch me download that or open it because it takes about 10 to 20 seconds to load. So have it pre-open for us. So this is kind of interesting. The first thing I saw is that, here's like the series with the most episodes. Like, oh, wait, that makes sense. Soaps. We all need our stories, I guess. Days of Our Lives, As the World Turns, General Hospital. It's like I'm homesick at my grandma's house right now. And we would watch all those things. Uh, I'd leave the room usually at that point. But it's kind of neat to see what's been the longest running ones, and I think most of these we've heard of with Jeopardy and other ones too. Over here, you can see by the IMDb rating and the number of votes. I think it's neat. Like two of the ones we all heard about the past few years, so big, Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones, right? So those are big. Um, Number of other ones up here. It's just kind of neat to see, some of the different ones, and you can kind of play around with that data. They made a few different ones here. They also have this Data Plus TV IMDb dashboard for. Oh, I missed. What does the rest of that name say? It doesn't go that far. Anyway, this is the Series Explorer. There it is. So they have Doctor Who. They use that as a default, but you can pick whatever title you want. You can kind of see here's the season numbers across the top. Here's the rating, and see where those different ones come in. I am not someone who watched a lot of Doctor Who. I'm sure I would love it. I'm a sci-fi fan, but I know of it. I know a little bit about it, and I'm sure a lot of people know a lot more and would love it. So pick your favorite title and you can see that. They have another ebook dashboard. We're not going to go through everything here, but they have another one right here. If this one speaks to you, it's again got some Doctor Who information on there. And I think there was another one mixed in there too, the way they did it. Game of Thrones. Yeah. So anyway, let's dive into the data just a little bit. I'm going to create a new sheet. And I promise this will not take a long time to do. But over here, you can see they have it done very nicely on the folders. You can see here's the series information, here's the title information, cast and crew, age, rating, nominations, dashboard calculations that you may need to use. So they've done quite a bit with it. Okay, so let's go to the series, and right away you can say, well, here's series title right here. So you can go into the filter. You can, select from list. We can just type in Seinfeld. Oh, I should have done none first. Here we go. Let's try that one more time. Here's Seinfeld. Let's get that in. Do okay. All right. So we've got Seinfeld in there now. Okay. So let's look at, let's see. It was under title, right? There we go. Season number. Here we go. So season number seems like the best thing to sort this by. We already saw a number from done with that. Season number. We can go to episode number. So you can see this is pretty easy to work through. Add all members, which is it's warning us, of course, because if we did like all the TV shows, that's not going to be good. It'll be pretty big. And then we can even get into the title, which is what we want. And if you're a Seinfeld fan, you can see a lot of titles start to come up that you're probably familiar with. Let's go ahead and get the rating too, because that's what I'd like to see. Is what were the highest ratings? Oh, it was under here too, right? IMDb title rating. Here it is. So we can throw that under text. And I know there's different ways you can do this, but this shows what this shows the different ratings. Looks like it only goes down to tenths. So let's go ahead and reduce the title rating. Let's go ahead and go to the default properties. We're going to take that number format down to 1 decimal place. So that way we don't have all these extra decimals. It's kind of weird to look at. And let's go ahead and get these ranked. One way we can just do that real quick here. Let's go ahead and take this IMDb title rating, throw it up here for the moment. And then I'm going to change it to a dimension. And I'm going to change it to discrete. Go ahead and slide that to the left. And we're going to go by descending, because I think this is just kind of neat to see what does people think. Do they like the ones that I like the most or not? So sort, that's what I want. Trying to talk and chew gum at the same time here. There we go. So I mean, you can see a lot of the famous ones are up here. The Contest, that's the number one up there. The Marine Biologist, one of the great endings to one of the episodes. The Hamptons, Bizarro Jerry, Frogger, the Pothole, one of my favorites, and that's down a little ways. I thought that one might be a little more popular, but just little fun things like that. You can do this and kind of say, oh, here's some of those big Seinfeld episodes, and you can see a lot of those ones you might be familiar with. The Merv Griffin Show, a great one too. Hopefully, we have at least a few Seinfeld fans out there. We're not. This isn't too out there for you. Okay, so let's do another quick one on The Simpsons here. So once again, we're going to want to go ahead and take our series title throw that up here under the filter. Okay, let's do none. Start with none. I mean, just to show you how much they have on here, it's kind of staggering because they even have like the ones from when they were in the Tracy Ullman show, which, of course, if you're a Simpsons fan, you know that's where it got its start, right? It was shorts on the Tracy Ullman show, and they got their own show after that. But we'll just do the regular Simpsons. Again, let's kind of go to season. No, we'll go under the title here. We have our season number, and then we're going to go to the episode number. Add all members. We're going to do the title. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in that title rating or the rating, but let's do a bar graph this time, because what I always heard and would agree with is that the Simpsons had their heyday. They kind of peaked in the seasons 3 through 9. I think they still had some pretty good seasons in 10, 11, 12. But after that, it's kind of fallen off after 30 some seasons. So you can kind of scroll down and I think very easily see in here the bar graph start to go up, and it gets not massive, but it starts to go up around there. You have season 3, 4, 5. We're in the heyday. These are all 8 and 9 star episodes, we'll call it. And then you see it starts to go down just a little bit here with season 9 with Arthur Tamzarian and Jumping the Shark. You get down to, season 10, 11, 12. I think there's still a few really good ones in there, like A Tale of Two Springfields. The Treehouse of Horror ones always get good ratings. And then you just see it start to drop off a little bit. And that's kind of where it stays for the rest of the time, where it's still a good show, it's solid, but it's just not what it was in the heyday. Dips a little then too, and it just kind of has slowly gone down over the years, but it's the longest running TV show on TV, I think, now. So still hats off to them on putting together a great show and giving me a fulfilling childhood. So let me go ahead and stop sharing here. And does anybody have any questions on the Data Plus TV?
Well, first, Robert, you make it look so easy. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. The speed that you can get inside the Tableau Public is really nice. It looks like a really good place to play around, and make mistakes. Just feel free to make mistakes.
I made many making this, yes, for sure. Just took a couple practice runs after that, and luckily that's why I didn't want to go too crazy with it. I know we have a certain amount of time, but it's just to show people. Sometimes I think the hardest part is just starting, right? You're like, man, how hard is it to jump in that? And I felt that way too. I was like, okay, it's not hard. It's something to play with. And really, in my experience, in spite of my best efforts to waste time when I do these things, I end up learning something every time. When we did a CCR, our college and career readiness dashboard, every time we said CCR, I thought of Creedence Clearwater Revival. And so I ended up making a Creedence Clearwater Revival dashboard as a joke, after work, by the way, not on work hours, to present in our meeting, and they all loved it. And I learned about embedding videos. I put music videos on there and talked about how they were trying to achieve stuff. Found out that I never had a #1 hit, lots of 2s and 3s, and it was just really fun to kind of do that. So again, I attempted really hard to waste time, but actually learned something. So I invite you all to waste a little time, because you'll probably learn something if you actually do.
Yeah, and if you take part in the challenge, you make something, make sure you put it there on the Tableau public dashboard and shout it out to others. People sometimes get high visibility. When you make something cool, you get a lot of renown, and then people get a lot of followers, and really just sharing your stuff. And the other thing you can do is find other people's work up there on the public, and also just kind of copy it. Download their dashboards, see what they've done, take it apart, put it back together, and enjoy, as Robert said, the learning while you look up and say, crap, that took 3 hours. You were in the flow. You were in the flow.
Yeah, I when I made that CCR dashboard, it was after hours. So instead of going home to my family like a responsible person, I stayed here until 9:30 at night making a Creedence Clearwater Revival dashboard. So, but again, it was a really good learning experience. And so, one night they'll be okay. But
well, as Claire Sims said, I'm sure Lisa Simpson would be a data nerd, and that she'd probably spend some time there away from her saxophone and into Tableau.
And I couldn't agree more. And just to date, just how old that is. I mean, they premiered, it was the Christmas episode. I think it was December of '89. And to show the age of that, I know I would be if it was from that day, I would be between the ages of Bart and Lisa.
Nice. So you have aged and they have not.
Unfortunately, that's how that goes, right? So yeah. Okay, so Data Plus TV, hopefully you guys can have some fun with that. It was for me. It was neat. If you pick a show you like, it makes it a lot more fun. So Game of Thrones, never. Breaking Bad, I haven't watched them. I'm sure I'd like them, but I don't know as much about them, so I wouldn't get as much out of it. These two, those I know. So, okay, David, would you mind throwing up your uh, uh, share your screen again with that and go to slide 11? Okay, awesome. Actually, Tyler, are we good to go with you, or would we like to? Are we going to do Stacey first?
Can you hear me now?
We can. You are good.
Yeah.
Just in the nick of time. Perfect. Are you good with going first? I know you had a few technical difficulties there. You had to rush
Yeah,
through.
I'm
Okay,
good. I'm all set
awesome.
up.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool. Good deal. Okay, well then we'll go ahead and get to introductions here. So our first presenter is going to be covering staff engagement surveys, and I'm actually currently reading "Start with Why" by Simon Sinek, and that when people are financially invested, they want to return, but when people are emotionally invested, they want to contribute. And I thought that was a pretty applicable quote when that's what we're talking about staff engagement today. And David started the tradition of putting an important, an applicable quote before these, and I like it, and I think this was a good one. So that does bring us to our first presenter. If you want to go to the next slide, Tyler Portis. Tyler is a senior data analyst at Noble Schools, a charter school network serving 12,000 plus Chicagoland students across 17 high schools and one middle school. Noble employs over 1,200 staff members to adequately educate and support its students in reaching choice lived lives after graduating. In recognition that staff sentiment towards their role is a key part in Noble reaching its mission and vision, Noble administers a staff engagement survey twice a year for staff to share their feelings about being a team member in the network. Tyler will showcase a Tableau dashboard designed to enable network and school leadership to explore data collected from the survey. So again, we're kind of getting into that not curricular type stuff. We're talking about personnel with this first one, and I think that's really important. I myself actually got to make a couple of my first personnel dashboards this past year. It was neat to do. It's nice to get out of the world of curriculum once in a while and do that. So, Tyler, would you like to go ahead and take over the presentation here? Would that work for you?
Can do. Okay. And then I'm going to say that you all see it. Is that right? Excellent. Perfect. And how are we on time? Should I plan for 2025? Is that right?
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Awesome. And then I'm going to set a timer because sometimes I talk too much and I forget. All right. Thank you for introducing me. Again, my name is Tyler Portis. I am a senior data analyst at Noble Schools. Noble Schools, there we go. Noble Schools is based in Chicago. We are a charter school network, the largest high school charter school network in the city. We have 17 high schools, and then one of those high schools also serve as a middle school as well. We have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade programming there too. All in total, that comes out to approximately 12,000 students, depending on the year and where we're at. And then that also comes out to 1,500 staff members to support those 12,000 students. And this is the most current number because I just looked it up right before this presentation. I was like, oh, we're at 1,500 now. So 1,500 staff members, 12,000 students. And again, the goal that we have at Noble Schools is to get all of our students in a place where they can have choice-filled lives when they graduate or leave our doors. And that is a very important mission that we have at Noble Schools. And also, it's very challenging, right? And we rely on the 1,500 staff members at Noble to accomplish that mission. So what does that mean? We just had a good quote to start us off from Simon Sink. Was starting with why, right? So we have all of these people at Noble, and I, someone who works here, find it really critical to not only think about how our students are doing and think about how our families are doing, but also think about how our staff members are engaging with Noble as well. And a piece of an artifact of how the care that Noble puts into Their staff is one. Staff experience is a core commitment that we have here at Noble. We have 6, one being college success, another one being academics, and then right under that is staff experience. And to gauge what the staff experience is, one, we're looking at staff retention, and we're also doing what's called the staff experience survey. Staff engagement survey. So a year, staff members they get an email like this, and then they are prompted to complete a survey on SurveyMonkey. And that is the staff engagement survey. The staff engagement survey has about 20-ish questions. The first 2 questions are always, how would you rate your experience at Noble, the network? And how would you rate your experience at your particular campus? And then we use that information to calculate what's called a net promoter score. I'll show that a little bit later. And then also, there are mostly Likert questions. So a staff member is prompted would say, do you feel like you are getting engaging development from your supervisor? Strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, right? So there's about 20 different prompts of those things, and they're separated into 4 different bins. Okay, and then what we had, so for reporting, our people team have put together a spreadsheet workbook for every campus. Again, there are 17 of them. So there will be 17 spreadsheets that will exist, and then also some other spreadsheets from higher and network reporting that would go out to, say, the senior executive leadership team. So what they would do is they would calculate the middle of the year score and calculate the end of the year score, and they would put it on the spreadsheet, and then it will send it out to principals. So there would be a summary tab with every prompt and what the score was. And then they would also have the ability, they would also add in the calculation for what was the change from last year and what is the difference between that campus score and the network score. And then on the other tab where it says like EOY 24 all data or EOY 24 comments, that's where folks were able to read the comments that people left for the free response questions, where it was like, do you have additional information you would like to leave? Now, again, this is all being done by hand. And we have not one spreadsheet, but 17 spreadsheets, one for each campus principal, and then also the additional manual calculations being done to doing some of that segmentation reporting out. So a question came up from the team is, could we create a Tableau dashboard that has a page that presents the information similar to the spreadsheet, enables deeper exploration of data like segmenting and filtering by demographics, and then also includes some historical data from previous years, and then has the ability to limit data seen by users. That's hitting back on. There was a spreadsheet for every campus. That way, if I was at school A, and I was principal at school A, I was not seeing data from school B. So I took that, I met with the team, and I was like, yeah, I think I can do that. And that's what I'll be showcasing today of what that dashboard came out to be. I click on, perfect, okay. So I am going to go to Tableau now, which is on this window. So I will move this one over here, okay. All right. So at Noble, we have our own Tableau server. So this is where we house all of our dashboards. We do things with academics, a lot of things with academic data, a lot of things with test scores and grades. And then the data team at Noble, we're very vast in the teams that we support. And then one of those teams is the people team as well. So I was very happy to work with them on this dashboard. So I have opened the first page of the dashboard, which is the campus summary page. And then if we remember, one of the core things that was wanted was, can I create a dashboard page similar to what has existed before in the spreadsheet form? The reason for that is to help with adoption. What we've learned is that as we have transitioned spreadsheet reporting over to more dashboards, sometimes people get overwhelmed with all the buttons and the filters and the many options, and they kind of just want what they had. But I want to expand that because that's what dashboards are for, right? It gives users more interactivity. So what I've learned over time is if I can create one page that looks similar to a spreadsheet that people used to have, and I have another page that is more of the dashboard Tableau experience that I would like people to engage with, some people are more inclined to engage with. Some people are more inclined to get to that second page when they already have this first page here. So that is the idea here. So that's why it's in this really tabular format, because it's meant to mimic what folks had before. And it is the prompt category, the middle of the year score, the network middle of the year score, the campus end of the year score, the network end of the year score, and then the differences from last year and the differences from the network. So if I was the principal at school A, I can select my school. But also, if I was the principal at school C, I am able to select my school. And then the historical piece as well, I was able to add in retroactively the historical data from years past. So let's say I was the principal, I'm the principal of school C now, but I was not the principal of school C last year. I can quickly click over to 2023 and get that information. See, is there anything else? Yeah, so we have all the questions here that folks were able to rate their campus on. And then there's the principal score and the net promoter score. Now our page 2, survey analysis page. This is a page where I want people to use. It allows for more segmenting and filtering. So the way that I've been presenting it out to our principals and our teams is that this campus summary page is a good page to start at and start generating more questions to ask. And then the survey analysis page is a place to go where it's like, okay, I noticed the lowest prompt score may have been, I am at a school that I'm excited to go to every day. I am able to then go to this page, do some segmenting, do some filtering to dig a little bit deeper into that. So again, folks are able to see the number of responses for their campus and other campuses, and then also able to see the net promoter score, the average value for each question that was asked on the survey. And then if they were to click on a prompt or click on anything up here, this area then appears with the breakouts for each, the frequency selection. So what percent of responses were actually strongly agree, what percent of responses were somewhat agree, somewhat disagree, and strongly disagree. So this is helpful to dig a little bit deeper into those averages. And then they also have the free responses here. As you can see, these are fake, but this would populate with the actual information that would come out from SurveyMonkey. And then there's also a filter prompt option here. That way, if I was a principal and it's like, okay, I don't want to read all of these right now, or I was delegating this to, say, my dean of instruction, they're more interested in the instructional based questions, they can like filter it out. And then we have the segmenting options that folks are able to engage with as well. So let's say I was at campus A. I was a principal at campus A, and I noticed that just based on my experience, based on chatting with people, or I have a hypothesis that people who have different roles are experiencing campus differently. I can go over, adjust my breakout 1 to role, and then I can get that information out to see, okay, now what is the net promoter score? And that's the score to say like how much do they like their campus is how I'm gonna summarize what that means. So we're able to see what does this look like for the administration, what does this look like for other roles, support staff and teacher, and then also be able to see the average value for each question too. And then Tableau has the sorting ability where folks are able to click the sort button, and it just can quickly give them that highest to lowest type of analysis. Something I do want to point out, these breakouts are only possible because the data that I get has these columns. If that was not the case, I couldn't do it, or I may have to do a lot more data cleaning. But this is on the front end, this is the visual, and this is what I'm able to do because I have that data. Okay. And let me look at my notes. Another feature that was added to this dashboard is this network line. So folks are able to see what the score for all of our campuses were for the network. That way they have a comparison point that they can look at. So it is both here and here as well, where folks are able to use this reference line to gauge their campus compared to the network. Okay. And then another thing I wanted to share as well is, where are the slides? Those are my notes. Don't look at that. So part one is done. Has a page that presents the information similar to the spreadsheet. The second one, enable deeper exploration of data. I would say it does that. And then includes historical data from previous years. That check off. So this is the last one. Limit data seen by users. And the reason why I selected this dashboard to present out to you all is because of the added row level security that was added to this dashboard. So this is what it looks like for me because I am an admin user for Tableau. But let's say I was a principal at school A. My experience is slightly different. So I am now in a service account that we have, and I have delegated delegated this account to be the principal at school A. So school A, I can see all the data. But let's say on this account, I select school B. We decided to change things around so folks are still able to see this staff engagement data no matter what campus that they select. But oh my God, it didn't do it. That sucks. This is a service account, right? Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So what it would do, and I tested this last week. I tried to build a demo dashboard out. But what it would do is for this principal score. Oh, I know what I did. For this principal score, folks are, if I am the principal at school A, I can only see the results, the principal results for school A. Whereas I can still see the results from the other places. I can still see the results for the other campuses in the other areas, but not for the principal score. And the reason that we did this is because the principal score felt a bit more private, more individualized. So the team didn't want other principals to see how their campuses rated them for specifically the principal questions. And also, the team did not want responses to show for other campuses as well. So again, this account is school A, and it looks like it's delegated to school B as well. But if I was to take off A and B, none of the comments show because of the row level security that exists for this account. And this is possible because Tableau has the user filter that we were able to add to dashboards. But another added thing that I had to add, just given the nature of having some of these show, but not all of them. Let me remove the filter. Okay. So still having school A through F show, no matter who's looking at it, for all of the questions but principal, but then having this row level security only for principal got a bit more complicated. But what that looks like on Tableau side is a calculation. So what I've learned over time, or what I learned trying to make this dashboard, is that I am able to use username as a function. And then something that I created on this end, yeah, that's what I did. Okay. Something that I created was a spreadsheet that will list out the school names and then list out the principal, their email, and then their Tableau username. And then on Tableau, I did a join. So now there's every row where we're talking about a response. It would also include the principal of that school and then that principal's username. So then what we have on this dashboard side, this dashboard calculation, it's just going through and saying, like, if the username is not in username set, and what username set is, it's a, it is this here. So essentially, it is just saying, does the username exist here in this spreadsheet? So it's going through that, and then it's then looking to see, does the user name of the person with the account match the username that's showing on the spreadsheet? And then it's going through and saying, is the prompt category principal? If all of those things are true, then I will show those responses on the dashboard. If those things are not true, I would not show the response on the dashboard. So that's what makes this work out for folks to be able to see those responses on. There we go. That's how folks are able to see the responses for all the questions but principal. But if they go to principal and they're not the principal listed on that spreadsheet, they're not able to see that. And then the same idea with the free responses as well. They are able to see only responses for their campus because of that calculation that was done. And then another thing to highlight as well, another under the hood thing, tables are pretty harder to do on Tableau, especially tables in this format. So something done to create this out is a use of fixed calculations. So I'm going to do summary page, and then this is summary page campus MOI. Summary page campus MOI. Okay. So these are essentially just fit calculations to make this work out. So it is getting hyper specific into the prompt category, the prompt, and the campus to be able to just pull out the average for that specific prompt. And then the school year and period is in the context filter as well. So those are two additional things that I wanted to point out, to under the hood things specifically I wanted to point out, because I think they're pretty cool. And I think it creates a way to do some of those spreadsheet things into Tableau. Because again, one of those benefits of it being the spreadsheet, or one of the needs that was expressed when transferring the spreadsheet over to a dashboard, was the row level security. Well, I'm calling it row level security. They just called it the not showing other folks' data to people who shouldn't see it. And then also that tabular format type of data, and not having to make 17 different dashboards and just having all of that information in one dashboard, but on the user side, they see it in the exact way that they need to see it. And this is the dashboard that we use here at Noble to present out the staff engagement data. We are now on our 3rd year of using the dashboard. And this year we are expecting for more principals and principals to introduce you to their staff too, to further engage with the data and explore more of what their staff perception of their school is. And I will stop now. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for having me. Does anyone have any questions?
And if anyone tried to submit Q&A before Tyler started, we forgot to open that. I realized right when Tyler started, so it does work now. Claire Sim says, nice work on this dashboard. And that's high praise because she's a very capable person at making dashboards too.
Thank you.
I'll start you off the question, Tyler. What actions have you seen your school take, or maybe you're not in a position to know what actions people have taken from this survey data?
That's a great question, David. I wish I knew. So I can tell you some of the exploration side of it. Folks, what they didn't have before is this ability to break out by role and the ability to see things by, say, like gender. So I do know that there are more folks engaging with that, because I've talked to some principals over the summer about it. I'm not sure what specific decision-making and actions came from it. I do know that one principal, going back to role, I know that one principal at one of our schools, they found, this is some mock data, but they found, say, something similar to this page right here, this pane right here, but for a particular role, I think it was support staff, it was on the negative end, and it was very different from what we saw with the other results, for other roles. So they did some thinking time with the admin at their school to come up with some ways to, like, how can we do more support for the support staff? So that is how conversations have happened with this data, but I'm not too sure what decision making came from the data.
Well, I like the choice of colors, the colorblind palette there, and providing people lots of options to explore. And I like the kind of summary page 1 versus the detail page 2.
And I'm glad that question was asked, Tyler, so don't feel bad, because I was curious too what kind of action you'd seen on that, because like I said, a few months back, they asked me to make one too, and I don't think, to be fair, it's pretty recent, but I don't think they've done a ton with that yet, other than kind of look at it a little and find it interesting. So, it's hard when you make these things and for people to kind of figure out what to do with it next, right? Like that's I get that's a hard ask on their part too, but hopefully it sounds like they're doing a bit with already. They're getting started, and as they get more comfortable, they'll be better. And I know we've all probably done that, the whole thing with Excel, like to try and convince people to go to Tableau and do that. Like, well, what if I make you one that looks like Excel? And then, this exact same, it was enrollment data, not this data, right? Like, I'll give you one that looks just like you have in Excel. And then on this other one, we're going to have something that's a line graph, and it's going to look so much better for seeing that over time. And it was still helpful to have the Excel, and it, like you said, to kind of wean them off that just a little bit, and it's super helpful to do that. So I like that.
Yeah, especially for our K12 crowd, we often have people that say, well, can I just have a printout of that?
Yeah.
So we're putting print the data buttons on ours as well, either for an Excel spreadsheet or for a PDF. Yeah.
And your Excel sheet was pretty solid too with the color coding. I mean, I can tell you our enrollment one was not color coded; it was just a sea of numbers, and so that was even a pretty sophisticated Excel sheet you had. So this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. All right, I don't see any questions, so I'm going to exit. Thank you everyone for having me. I hope that I talked about something that people got value from.
For sure, yeah. Thank you so much for all the time and effort you put into not just the dashboard, but even putting together this presentation. So yeah, we really appreciate that. Um, Okay. Yeah, actually something else I think that was good too. It really, kind of gets, I think some of us out of most of us here, I think are usually from traditional public school districts. And it's always, for me, it's good to kind of see more in the world of charter schools, especially these big systems of charter schools. They're not quite as big in Ohio as they are here in other states, like in Illinois. I think I hear Texas is another one I've heard thrown out there, Colorado. But I'm glad to see things from another perspective, not just the operation stuff, but even the charter schools. So with no other questions, then I guess we'll move on to our second presenter. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna do brief introduction here and present. Oh, David is okay. That works too. Perfect. Okay, we'll go with David. So for our second presenter, it got me thinking about maps and just how wonderful they are. I love maps. Everybody loves maps, and they're always everyone's favorite visit to create. I looking for different quotes and stuff. I did find this one by Robert Louis Stevenson, the author of Treasure Island. I thought it was fantastic. I am told there are people who do not care for maps, and I find that hard to believe. And I think that is so true because they're so wonderful. And I'm excited to see what our next presenter, Stacey Pulmano, has in store for us. So Stacey is a seasoned data visualization specialist with 8 years of experience using Tableau. Her expertise lies in transforming complex data sets into actionable insights through dashboards and reports. As a member of the Data Governance and Analysis Branch of the Hawaii State Department of Education, Stacey leverages Tableau to support data-informed decision-making efforts throughout all levels of the department. So, Stacey?
Thank you so much for the introduction. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Okay, and then I'm going to start with a fun fact, just because Robert mentioned the Simpsons, and I have a distinct memory of being in like second or third grade, and the way we got music back then was a song would come on the radio and you record it on your cassette player, and I remember calling into the radio station and begging them to play the Bartman so I could record it. I feel like it took me a few days before they did it, and I think they did it just to get me to stop calling, but fun fact. But yes, I am an analyst in the Data Governance and Analysis Branch of the Hawaii State Department of Education. And I've been in this position for almost 9 years. So I've been using Tableau around 8 years or so, though it was definitely a steep learning curve in the beginning. And I attended my first Tableau conference in New Orleans in 2018. And so, since then I try to go back whenever I can. And that's how I met Stephanie Henry. And it's so great to meet people there. So everybody who goes to conference, come to the meetup and everybody say hi, because it's so great to meet other people that use Tableau as well. And then I will say that Tyler's presentation got me thinking of how differently I use Tableau, because the way I use it is that Hawaii DOE, we're not like a Tableau district. We do have a longitudinal educational information system, or LAY, that we have, but that's not a Tableau product. That is something that does have row level security, and reports are built to see at various levels. I do not do that. Everything I do basically goes into Tableau Public, which means that I do all the work aggregating. I do making sure that all the business rules are applied, all the data suppression is done in prep before I even put it in Tableau, because the student security, student privacy, and FERPA office also falls under the Data Governance and Analysis Branch, and would be very humiliating if I got in trouble for that. So basically, I do a lot of ad hoc hoc reporting. I get asked to do a lot of kind of one-off reports. And then I also kind of serve as sort of a band-aid if there is a report that we do eventually want to go into lay, but the team is busy with other things and so much is going on. Kind of like I might build a report and have that running for, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, depending upon how long it takes us to get it into lay. And then, just kind of serve as a band-aid until we can get it in there. Okay. So the Hawaii State Department of Education, we serve around 170,000 students and 30,000 staff if you include part-time and casual employees. And we have 295 schools, 258 of which are our public DOE schools and 37 charter schools. And depending upon the report, they may or may not include charter schools. For obviously our federal reports, they do, but our regular DOE public schools are governed by our Hawaii Board of Education, but our charter schools are governed by the Charter Commission. So depending upon the report and the need, it may or may not include charter schools in that report. And then also, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Hawaii is the only state that is a single LEA SEA. So in some ways that makes our job easier, but that also presents challenges in other ways. All right, so this is the state of Hawaii, and I should have put another slide to show exactly where we are in the ocean. I know that this is an education group, so everybody probably knows, but there are people out there who don't realize that we're right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, because in maps of the US, we're always like right off on the side by California. But basically, the way I describe it is it takes roughly the same amount of airtime to fly from the East Coast to the West Coast as it does to fly from the West Coast to Hawaii. So we are very isolated out, feeling sort of in the middle of nowhere. These are the 7 main Hawaiian islands here. And the population of the islands as a state is, it's a little over 1.4 million, which is kind of similar to San Diego. But the very interesting thing about that is that 70% of our population resides on the island of Oahu. That is where Honolulu is, the city, metropolitan area. And actually, if you look on the word Oahu on the map and you see where the H and the U kind of come together and you move your eyes up just a little bit, that's where I am. We have several islands and several challenges that come with that. And here is that same map, but with all of our schools put on the map. Our public schools are in that teal color and our charter schools in that blue. And I put our official enrollment count for last school year on size, so you can kind of get a relative idea of size of schools as well. Again, we serve 170,000 students around there, 80% of which identify as something other than white. So we are a very, very diverse state. 57% of our students fall into that low socioeconomic status category, and 11% of our students are active English learners. So not those that have been identified, not those that have been exited, but active, around 11%. 11% of our students are special education students, and 7% of our students are military connected. And then I also wanted to just bring your attention, if you look all the way to the left, the island of Ni'ihau, and then kind of in the middle at the island, on the island of Lanai, they each only have 1 school. If you look above on Molokai, they have about 6 schools. And then if you look at Maui, on the west side, there's a few dots over there. That is the area of the island that was affected by the wildfires. One of the schools actually burnt down. So a lot of challenges over there. And I don't know how many of you have been able to travel to Maui, but that school that is all the way on the east side of the island, that east dot there, that is out in Hana. So if you've ever driven that road to Hana, you can get an idea about how remote that school is. So yeah, you can kind of see. And then you look at Oahu with so many schools, again, so many populations. So we have a lot of different challenges, things that are maybe a little more typical of like an urban area, as well as rural, remote schools. And then, of course, the challenge that you can't easily drive from one area to another. So again, a lot of challenges there. Okay, so I'm not going to dig into the dashboards, but I will give you everybody access to go in and look at our dashboards. But these are the two dashboards that I have that really show some operations data. On the left-hand side is a dashboard that we built for the Office of Facilities and Operations. And on the right is kind of a monster of a report. That's our summer learning final report. And only one page of data in that report is operations data. But I wanted to put them side by side here so you can just get a kind of a quick glance at our reports, because this kind of showcases the general format that we use and the format that our users are used to looking to. So we tend towards the vertical dashboard. They embed very nicely in the DOE's website. Sometimes there's a width pixel limit. So we decided, you know what, we'll just generally limit our width to a certain amount and we'll just go vertical. We keep tabs across the top. So in the report on the left, you can see there's just one tab up there. And then the report on the right, there are 4 tabs across the top, and that will take you to sort of different pages of the dashboard for navigation. And the background, as you can see, we do like to incorporate local scenery whenever we can and whenever we think it's appropriate. And the cover pages have the main points, the main takeaways, because not everybody wants to dig into the data. Obviously, there are ways to do that. We like to really give you as much as possible whenever we can to be able to dig into the data. But just at first glance, these are kind of the main points, the main things that usually typically answer people's questions. Okay, so focusing on the report on the left, indemnification provision report, that's really just the name of the statute. We refer to this report as use of county facilities. And basically, we started doing this report. We were asked to put it together by the Office of Facilities and Operations because, and I actually didn't know this until I worked on this report, there are a lot of schools that I thought the park that was kind of connected to the school or adjacent to the school was part of the school, because in all the schools I went to, any sort of park or playground was part of the school. But there are a lot of situations where that area actually technically belongs to the city and county. So this can range from like a playground to a field to places in the city and county that we would take field trips to, as well as even we have a big concert hall here where our symphony plays. And if there's any type of, touring musicals that come to town, they play there. Well, the DOE also uses those for a lot of commencement activities. So we use a lot of these city and county facilities. And so every year, the Office of Facilities and Operations goes to the legislature and basically advocates for these pieces of land, for these facilities, to say, please continue providing money, please continue supporting them, please upkeep them, because we use them a lot. And so this kind of provides a little bit more meat to show how much these facilities are used. So if you were to click into that map by facility, again, this is a really simple report. All it is 2 basic filters at the top left. You just filter to select the county facility. On the right, a worksheet will pop up that we also utilize as a filter, and that will show you the schools that use it. And then you can click a school, and then the data below will fill in. So you'll be able to see the category, the event, the description, and the location on the map of that facility and the way it's used. So this here is Hanama Bay Nature Preserve. I don't know if any of you have come to Oahu. It's very likely that you went there. Great reef and snorkeling, and a lot of opportunities for students, whether it's STEM research or a beach cleanup. There's a lot of opportunities there. But basically, this is a really simple report. I did give other options because I like to dream. I'm a dreamer, and so I saved this because ultimately this was not needed, but I was like, wouldn't it be cool to show the origin, destination of all of this stuff? Like you can see where people are going, students are going from and to, and you can see a lot of them. The dots are essentially on top of each other, which means that that's a facility that probably is like right adjacent to the school. And then in other cases, you see students traveling farther. And so on the right, I kind of highlighted that that same place on the previous dashboard, Hanama Bay Nature Preserve, and you can see the where the schools are located, the students that went from that location to Hanama Bay. And so, yeah, I thought that was a fun little thing. It's something that's possible. Ultimately, it was decided that was not needed, which is completely fine. So next is our summer learning dashboard. And this dashboard is such a monster. We do get some of the data for this from our student information system, but we get a lot of it in different pieces in Excel if we're lucky. Sometimes we even get, you know, a photocopied handwritten report of like students that attended a particular program. So this particular report is a lot of work with a lot of pieces from different places. And on the left here, and I know I'm just showing the picture here, but if you see the picture of the islands in yellow there, that is something that's a map, but it's used as a filter. So if you were to click on any of those areas of the islands there, that would filter the rest of that dashboard for that particular district. And then on the right, where it says elementary, middle, and high, those bars, that also serves as a filter for the dashboard as well. So again, typically people don't necessarily need to go deeper, but if they want to, we like to provide that capability. We also use a lot of hovers and Biz and tooltip options as well. But there is only one page that shows operations data, and that is that last tab all the way on the right in red. That's operations. And when you click that, it'll take you to the dashboard that's on the right. And typically this shows transportation, meals, personnel expenditures, and telehealth. So as you can see at the top, we were not able to get the transportation data for this past summer. I'm sure we're not the only ones that have had a big problem with school bus drivers and a lot of transportation issues that have come up since the pandemic. So they've been really busy. So we weren't able to get the data for that for this past summer. But this is from the previous year's report, and it's the same functionality. It's just a different color scheme. So on the transportation and on the bottom is summer meals. Again, the main information there in those big white numbers, that is often the main takeaway that people need. But for transportation, we do have it broken down by island up there. And on the bottom, we have summer meals broken down by complex area. And then on the left, you see those things that look like buttons. And what those will do, they will filter that main white number as well as the map at the top or the bars at the bottom based on whatever is in that. So they look like buttons, but it's actually just a worksheet. We use a lot of worksheets as with dashboard actions to be able to filter worksheets a lot. We also really like the aesthetic of being able to control the look of it a lot more than the built-in filters that exist in Tableau. So this is one way to get around that if you're very into aesthetics. And then the next section of the report, personnel hired for summer learning and expenditures. So basically, this is the exact same report, but just different data. Again, that main information piece in the middle in white in that donut, showing the total hires as well as the total payroll expenditures. And then on the right-hand side, we have the map of the islands, and that we join it to a shapefile of our districts, not defined by federal, because by federal view, Hawaii is all one district, but by our definition of district, it's broken down on the right-hand side. So if you hover over any of those islands, you'll be able to see the breakdown of that data for that district. Again, just another way to be able to dig in deeper at different aggregation levels if you want to. If anybody wants to, it's obviously not necessary, but it's just another layer that we like to have there. And then This is just another example of using those Vision tooltips for specificity. So for the Hawaii Keiki Health Hotline and telehealth, they received 11 calls. And again, that's probably just the main thing that people want to know. However, if you hover over that, you can actually see the reason for the call and who made the call. So Vision tooltips are a really, really great way to show the specificity of data that you want to show. And so that's kind of already the tour of our operations data in those two dashboards. You can find our dashboards if you look in Tableau Public at HIDOE DGA, or you can go to that link there. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the list, basically the bottom two dashboards are the ones that I shared today. And so that is the end of that. Let me know if there are any questions.
That was amazing. Thank you, Stacey. And if anyone has some spare time, a few hours to kill, for sure, you go check out their public dashboards. I was floored by what all you guys have out there. It was astounding.
Thanks.
We do have a request to share the link in the chat to the dashboards. It looks like that's, if you can, we can copy and paste that in there. Yeah, I can do that. Oh, David's racing me on here. I can see.
I am racing you.
All right, I'll let you win. So on a side note, just something that came to my mind when you talked about just how far out Hawaii is in the Pacific Ocean. It reminded me just about a month ago, if you remember, the Mountain West Conference, which of course University of Hawaii is a part of. They're looking to expand and are looking at my alma mater, University of Toledo, to join the Mountain West Conference of football only, way out west, right? And there was an article in the Toledo Blade about this, about how some of the ridiculousness of this, in that Toledo is closer to Africa than it is to the University of Hawaii. So we could get to Morocco faster than we can get to Honolulu. So that is just how far out it is. And that was, it is, you see it on the globe, but it is kind of staggering when that kind of a stat comes out. So.
Yeah, no, agreed. Wonderful, beautiful work. Tell me more about who's your color palette chooser. Is that you or somebody else?
Oh, no. Okay. So I'm so sad that Jill Gentiana couldn't be here today. We're kind of a team. I'm the one that does what I think is the fun stuff, which is playing with all the data in prep, getting everything ready, building the actual dashboards. But once I get everything together, we kind of talk about sort of the layout and how we want it to go, what we want to be on different pages, or on what should go together, what should be separate. And then Jill is the one. We are not for all of our dashboards, because it depends, but dashboards like the ones you saw today, we use floating tiles, and they are assigned their exact location of where they are. And so the beautiful backgrounds you see, actually, a lot of those pictures of the islands, Jill actually took those pictures. She went to Hanauma Bay and took the picture, and went to these places and utilizes them in kind of the graphic design element way, and builds them all as essentially backgrounds within Canva, and then those are put in as a background picture into Tableau. So measuring them out so specifically so that they beautifully framed the dashboards in Tableau. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of tedious work, for sure. If you want to make things look that aesthetic in Tableau, it's very tedious. Yeah.
Well, I really like Tiller. I really like the last year's purple
Oh,
and
yeah.
aqua change.
Yeah.
It's all about the
Yeah.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah, she's always
yeah.
playing with different colors and using various tools and putting them together. And I don't have it with me today, but this past summer's dashboard was inspired by my Stanley Cup. I have these colors of stripes on my Stanley Cup. She was like, "That looks really nice. I'm going to try to make the dashboard theme with those colors." So yeah, you can draw inspiration from all kinds of places.
Yeah. Got the hashtag team floating. Wonderful work. Somebody loves the Canva as well. Yeah, a lot of great tools out there for creating backgrounds, Figma, Canva, all sorts of great stuff. I'm glad that you have a collaborative partner. I also have a collaborative partner who has a much better sense of design than I do.
Yeah, she makes everything look pretty.
Yeah. And they don't like what I do, so it works out. Complementary obsession, so to speak. Well, we'll see if there are other questions or comments. The other thing liked is was got to play around and really liked, as someone else said, the nice vision tooltips that you have there, and I really like how you shape the highlighted, often what they call bands or big numbers that you want to make it. You kind of give it that. I can't even do it with my hands here. A little shape around it to highlight that that's the band. That's a neat idea. Well, okay. So yeah, keep the praise coming for both Tyler and for Stacey. We had it wonderful there. See if there are any other questions quickly before we go to close. That was the bell for me, but it doesn't have to be the bell for you. You don't have to pick up your stuff and leave 5 minutes early from class, but we, don't wander the halls. But we will see if we got some more questions or comments here. Again, this will be archived in our beautiful archive of K12 Tableau user groups. You can find it on the web. You can find some of them in our user group area. You can also find a large number of Tableau user group videos on the Data Fam channel. Paula says, thank you. As people start to check out, let me once again share my screen before you go, and so that you can see what's coming up next for all of us in Tableau. We want to make sure that you know that we have a great sponsor in Plant Moran. And so if you need some support from Plant Moran in either their support with helping you how to figure out how to get Tableau running, they have some training as well. And they do all things technology. I think they're nationwide, though Stephanie is in Colorado. And we also have some upcoming events again. So coming up, there are 2 ones that are planned for these dates, but we can add dates as we need, as we have more and more folks that would like to present. You don't have to be an expert to present, and I will be reaching out, or you can reach out to us to help us meet you and build our Tableau community. As we show, we're growing and growing, and let us know the ways that we can meet your needs. But we want to thank you and glad that you all came today. And we will see you on the next